This audiobook is distributed by Christian Audio. Please visit christianaudio.com to offer your impressions of this work and to explore additional titles.
Sozo Media Group presents Almost Our Time, Generation X Takes on America's Challenges by Rob Stam and Greg Smith. Read by Josh Schicker. Introduction. A long time ago, in a village far, far away. I grew up with Star Wars. I'm a member of Generation X, kids born between the early 1960s and the late 1970s. Most of us were somewhere between diapers and ninth grade when the first Star Wars movie came out. I think it's safe to say that for the last 20-plus years, Star Wars has been the single biggest cultural phenomenon that we've known. The movies, toys, books, cartoons, video games, Halloween costumes, thousands of jokes and parodies, well, they've been with us always. Star Wars is a fixture of our landscape, like a mountain or coastline next to our town. We grew up during the longest period of economic growth in America, heck, maybe even in world history. When the first Star Wars movie came out, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was around 900 points. When the last movie was released, it was more than 10,000. Our parents' 401ks got fat, and the little houses that we had collected our Star Wars toys in became worth 10 times what Mom and Dad had paid for them. Lots of us borrowed from good old Mom and Dad, who had portfolios and home equity to spare. We had none, but figured it was only a matter of time before we got ours too. Our generation saw the information age begin and the Cold War end, but those weren't our accomplishments. It all happened around us, not because of us, but we assumed that life just worked that way. Star Wars shaped our imaginations, and we imagined that we lived in that type of a universe. Lots of us voted for Barack Obama because we naturally assumed that Luke Skywalker-like optimism and Jedi smarts can change anything. We can't define the Force, but we are sure that things will turn out okay if we've got it. Now we're in our 30s and 40s, we're hitting the age when we start running for Congress and running major corporations. As the legions of baby boomers retire to live out their eternal grooviness with megadoses of Viagra and iPods full of classic rock, it's going to be our turn to lead America. Are we ready? That's what this book is about. Is the Star Wars generation ready for the real challenges that America faces? Do we even know what they are? Has our experience as a generation prepared us to know what to do, much less actually do it? We tend to think of change as something exciting because our generation has only known changes for the better. But over the centuries, there have been plenty of generations that faced changes that they couldn't understand or even see coming. Let me give you an example of such a generation. It happened a long time ago in a village far, far away. It was probably fun to be a young adult in the village of Farnham during the summer of 1348. We might find it primitive and boring, but for a young man or woman in a village in rural England, life was as good as it could get at that point in history. Farnham is in Surrey County, in southeast England, and in the mid-14th century the weather was nicer than that part of the world would see for another 600 years. It was near the end of something called the medieval warm period, right before the Little Ice Age, and for hundreds of years warm weather meant longer growing seasons that produced bumper crops throughout Europe. More crops meant more food, and that meant more people. Families got bigger, and so did villages like Farnham. So big, in fact, that for the last couple of centuries, land was always being cleared, and new farming villages were popping up throughout Britain. In 1347, England had more people and money than it had ever known before. It was the pinnacle of medieval culture. Castles dotted the land, great cathedrals were going up, and knighthood, with all its chivalry, falconry, and jousting, was as fascinating as it would ever become. That summer would have been particular.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?